We are live on a late night Tuesday. Travis, it's Losing Sucks. I am Dustin Blanton. That's Travis Masterson, of course, as usual. We've got show 90 this week, Travis, and we are summarizing week 10 of the NFL season. A lot of fun football to cover. We can jump right into it, but not first without having a quick, brief question of how are you, Travis? How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I'm enjoying the cold. I got to visit your city of Austin, Texas this past weekend and went to
nice?
the TCU Texas game. And my Horned Frogs stayed undefeated.
Oof.
They showed up and showed out against the one and only Bijan Robinson. Absolutely bottling Bijan. It was sweet to see in person.
You don't like to see that. We don't like that. We don't like that around here.
You and Alex Dunlap don't like that, but Travis loves it.
Yeah.
And Andy Dalton loves it too.
I'm happy for Andy Dalton. Woo.
Yeah, other than that, it's been a good week. It's only Tuesday, so we'll see. But so far, so good.
Well, fair enough, man. Let's hop right into the rundown then.
I'm going to dive in to the rundown. I'll be exhausted because it's like a triathlon.
All right, we're going to kick it off with Seattle at Tampa Bay. This was a game I was watching pretty closely.
Was it at Tampa Bay? It was in Germany.
Okay.
So this whole section of the rundown will be done in German by Dustin.
Okay. Yeah. Das Guten. Chris Godwin and Rachaad White, man. Those are the guys that you were happy to produce from Tampa Bay. There's some storylines here between Rachaad White taking over the job. You know, there's beat reporters. That's always my favorite when I hear beat reporters talking about, he's going to probably keep the job afterwards. Real quick, what do you make of that? Because he goes over 100 yards in this game. Lenny gets banged up. Granted, they have the bye week. But I think Rachaad White's here to stay. Godwin, of course, coming on, 71 yards and a touchdown. Real quick before we move on to Seattle, do you think Rachaad White is here to stay?
I do think he's here to stay. I think the bye week came at the absolute perfect time for Leonard Fournette. Because if Tampa Bay played this weekend and Fournette missed and Rachaad White got another 20 carries for 100, that's a wrap.
Yeah.
Fournette has not done that all year. So it's good timing for Leonard Fournette. He's got to get healthy if he wants to keep his job. But, yeah, I think Rachaad White is here to stay. He will be a flex or better rest of the way.
Absolutely. Lockett scoring again. Everyone else kind of quiet. And, you know, as it turns out, Kenneth Walker III is a human being after all and not a machine.
You hate to see it. A lot of people banking on 20 points from Kenneth Walker right now with how thin lineups are. He probably cost you with his single-digit day, but
probably. Let's move on to the Lions and the Bears.
Detroit and Chicago. Justin Fields is, to put it plainly, God right now. Most points in a 4-game stretch in the history of fantasy football. 130 points in 4 games.
That calls for a
yeet.
God dang
it. Dustin, my question for you before we move on to the rest of this game is 2 parts. Part 1, top 5 quarterbacks rest of season, and in Dynasty, where does Justin Fields fall?
Top 5 quarterbacks rest of season. I mean, you're still looking at Mahomes. You're still looking at Allen, Hurts, Lamar, and Fields.
Would you take Fields over any of those other 4? If you got to pick.
I'd probably take him over Lamar.
Yep.
And I would probably take him over Hurts.
Wow.
And then I'd probably take him over
Oh, really? He's your one.
No, I
can't put him over Josh Allen.
No, look, the way I've broken it down real quick, he has a really great schedule for the next couple games, but then fantasy playoffs, like I already put a tweet out about it. Fantasy playoffs, he's going to be awful for you. He has Philly and Buffalo, probably not looking great. But then if you get to the championship with Fields, he has Detroit again. So, you know, wheels up.
Yeah.
So stash him if you can.
All right. Khalil Herbert moves to the IR. Unfortunately, it is now time for David Montgomery to step up for the
League
next 4
winner.
weeks.
League winner.
David Montgomery.
Yeah.
He should, he should feast. Cole Kmet, over that 4-game span that I just spoke of for Justin Fields, is the tight end number 1 in fantasy
Beautiful.
football.
Love that.
LFG, Dustin.
Pick.
Amon-Ra St. Brown, volume monster once again. This is what we say week in and week out. Until he scores the touchdown, you might be able to buy him. Keep trying. 10 for 119. If he punches one touchdown in there, he's a top 5 guy every single week. Jamal Williams continues to outperform DeAndre Swift. Does this start to change, or is this a rest of season conundrum?
I just thought of a terrible, terrible thing that's probably going to happen, and I'm definitely going to make a post about it. We're going to see a Jay Williams tag team absolutely destroy our fantasy assets in Detroit. You're going to have Jamal Williams destroying DeAndre Swift's value, and then later, when you need him most out of Amon-Ra St. Brown, you're going to have Jamison Williams come in and start taking over all the work from Amon-Ra St. Brown. Jay Williams destroying all of our weapons. Put it on the board.
Wow, I don't know that Jameson kills Amon-Ra. I think he just takes the top off. But
Right,
yeah, I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown is still a top 10 to 12 receiver with or without Jameson Williams.
Yeah, probably.
Cleveland and Miami. I'll let you take this because
Yeah.
I don't talk about Mr. Tagovailoa.
Mr. To Alabama. Yeah, man. So the Browns and the Dolphins. Things changed pretty quick. We thought we had something with Raheem Mostert, and Jeff Wilson turns out to be the guy. 119 and a touchdown. He's the running back 12 over the last 3 weeks. Who'da thunk? Tua. Travis, all of a sudden, Tua has decided he has a personal vendetta against you.
Yes,
and
he does.
He put up another 285 and 3 quiet days for Tyreek and Waddle, although Tyreek still scored. Chubb saved his day over on the Browns. He had a touchdown. Slowly and quietly, Donovan Peoples-Jones. Sorry, the S is important. He has 99 yards in this game, and he's gone probably like the last 7 games having really nice, productive games. He is turning into a pretty sustainable wide receiver 3 on your teams with wide receiver 2 upside if he has touchdowns. So we have a Amari no-show game. Those happen on the road typically. And then we have Jacoby Brissett. His time is done. You know,
Almost there.
You've got one more game and then a bye week. And then you've got Deshaun Watson, who's going to take over. He had a nice run. If you can trade for Amari Cooper at the trade deadline, I'd probably consider doing that. So, also Hunt, Kareem Hunt. He's an absolute unplayable asset at this point. Really glad I traded him away earlier in the season.
Sucks. RB 38 over the last 8 weeks. You
Wow,
can't
that's
play
really
that.
good.
That's not even a flex.
That's so good. That's a really good running back.
But
Broncos
the name
and the
value,
Titans.
people still make mistakes and trade for Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, they do.
I saw a Cole Kmet for Kareem Hunt from a popular fantasy account, and I shook my head, and I think you actually backed that trade, unfortunately.
There's context there, but we're not talking about it.
Broncos and Titans, Nick Westbrook-Ikine and Jalen Virgil lead all fantasy weapons in this game, just like we thought,
Right,
just
we
like
had that
Dustin
planned.
tried to tell you on Thursday. Jerry Jeudy hurt. Moving on, the Broncos suck. I hate talking about the Broncos. That has not changed. Derrick Henry, a quiet 53 yards. Lucky
Wow.
you if you got matched up against Derrick Henry this week, because everybody
not.
else has been getting murdered by him. You are still alive.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Let's talk about the Vikings and the Bills. This was a more fun game. Okay, a lot of scoring, a lot of fun, big plays, Hall of Fame plays, all this other good stuff. But the nitty gritty of the fantasy aspect is Kirk, Dalvin, JJ. They all had great performances, usable performances. Kirk was kind of middle of the pack, but JJ and Dalvin, nice plays. Josh Allen, on the other hand, he's human. Although he had a fantasy play, he ran for 80 yards, and that's going to save you in a lot of weeks. Josh Allen, he's not the Stallion 101 that we all saw at the beginning of the season. Things have changed. I think they've changed a little bit. I think look. What was he? What was he this week?
More people are in his vicinity for sure.
He was the quarterback 6 now. Okay, you're gonna completely unusable. The quarterback 6. This was a bad game for him, and he was the quarterback 6. So yeah, maybe it's a little premature to tell you to pump the brakes on it, but he's still really good. Just do a couple picks, and he's been having to work through some issues, both physical and interception wise. Devin Singletary, on the other hand, finds the end zone a couple times. About dang time, Devin Singletary.
Yep.
And Diggs and Davis on the wide receiver end, they gave you a usable performance as well, both scoring a touchdown. So that was nice to see.
Texans and Giants. Dameon Pierce with another 100 yards from scrimmage day. Such a clear workhorse there. Another 19 touches. Nico Collins sighting in the end zone.
Yes, sir.
Brandon Cooks did play 4 catches, so he's not boycotting. Boycott DC. Barkley is a sexy, sexy man who continues to put in work. More on Barkley later, but he is exactly every week. He's exactly who you hoped he would be. Giants are 7-2. I still don't buy the Giants, but
yeah,
their record is what it is.
I think are they in first in that division? I think they might be. No, you sure? Oh no, Philly's 8-1. Sorry, Philly's 8-1. But
bad. They're 1 game back.
Yes, they are. Moving on, the Jaguars and the Kansas City Football Chiefs. Trevor Lawrence, man, looked like a competent quarterback. He didn't look absolutely lost, like check down Charlie all the time. He made some nice throws. Marvin Jones was making plays. Look, I think we're seeing this growth from Trevor Lawrence. As annoying as it is, there's a lot more ups and downs than any fantasy manager would like out of the star quarterback, but it is what it is. ETN was kind of bottled up in this one as they were kind of trailing most of the game, so they kind of had to pass, and they were just bottling up the run. Kind of makes me interested to pay attention what they did to ETN in this matchup in terms of what they might do to Austin Eckler next week. So something that is relevant. And on the other side of the ball, the other offense, Juju Smith-Schuster gets knocked out of the game. It was a brutal hit on Juju, knocked him out. He was unconscious. You could see him, struggling to get off the field as well. So he's going to be in the concussion protocol. Who knows if he'll play, which means Travis Kelce going to see a lot more work and potentially more for Kadarius Toney. So we'll keep an eye on that. Mahomes, though. Mahomes is, of course, the guy. Doesn't matter who's on the field. He's
best
heating
player
up.
in the world.
He is he is the X factor. Doesn't matter who else is on the field with him. If he's on the field, I think he can find a way to win any game. The interesting aspect in this offense, though, the change that I've seen and that we all saw, Isaiah Pacheco, Travis. He saw 16 carries. He's essentially absorbed Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who is nothing now. What are your thoughts? Is he someone that you think you could just pop into a lineup, especially with the Chargers coming up and their rough run defense? Or are you kind of taking a wait and see if they kind of go back to that we don't run it a lot?
I'm okay playing Pacheco. From a fantasy perspective, I think he's getting enough right now to flex him. Mm-hmm. I think the Chiefs are using Pacheco now to keep Jerick McKinnon healthy for the playoffs. We have seen Jerick McKinnon be a huge part of the Chiefs' offensive plan in the playoffs, and it'd be very effective. The vet comes in, he knows exactly what to do in every situation when the game is on the line and when the games matter more. I think they're going to use Pacheco as much as they can, but I think when the playoffs start, which is after fantasy football, so it doesn't matter for most of the listeners, but just football-wise, watch for Jerick McKinnon come playoff time to be leading that backfield in at least snaps. Maybe not carries, but he's out there a lot.
For sure.
Yeah, the ETN game hurt, kind of like Kenneth Walker. I mean, if you have these guys in your home league, and it's like now all these teams, myself included, you included, 4-6, 5-5.
Yeah.
You can't afford to have a 7-point day from an ETN or a Kenneth Walker. It'll cost you the week. For sure. But there's nothing you can do about it. You got to keep playing them.
Yeah.
Saints and Steelers. Andy Dalton and Kenny Pickett gave us, Dustin, Andy Dalton and Kenny Pickett. They are exactly who you thought they were. Neither QB
Hey.
goes over 200 yards. I don't
But
know
at
when the
least
last time
TCU
we've
won,
seen something.
You know,
Yeah.
but at least TCU won.
That's where Andy's mind was. We must beat Texas. Najee Harris, 20 carries for 99 yards. That's good to see from those of us, you and I, who doubt Najee Harris.
Yeah.
Between the lines, though, Warren is getting more run every week. Over 40% snap share this week for Jalen Warren.
Yeah. How much of that do you think is trying to just preserve Najee?
Not. Continue to stash Warren. I think once this team is eliminated from the playoffs,
Which
it is Jalen Warren season. There will be
Yeah.
mysterious reasons for Najee Harris is not playing. He's questionable. He's a late scratch. Whatever the reason
He's
is,
in a boot.
it will be Jalen Warren season at some point. You want to have him on your team. It's going to be ugly for pass catchers on both of these teams, the Saints and the Steelers, the rest of the way. You might get single hit games from Olave and Deontay Johnson, but beyond that, it's going to be ugly. I don't trust pass catchers from either team right now.
I do not blame you. Speaking of pass catching teams that I don't trust at all, the Colts and the Raiders. The Saturday chaos on Sunday. This was look, I don't know what's going on in Indianapolis, but I can tell you that the quarterback that plays there, and his name is Matt Ryan, all of a sudden, is favorite guy, Paris Campbell. He's the wide receiver 13 over the last 4 weeks. Wild. And
Unbelievable.
Who could have predicted this? Jonathan Taylor, still really good at football, Travis. Glad no one sold low on him.
He got a lot of hate, man.
He did get so much hate, and then he comes back and reminds them, hey, I'm actually not human, guys. I'm still really good at football. The weapons for the Raiders, on the other hand, did okay. Devontae Adams had a good game. But Josh Jacobs, still good. Derek Carr didn't have an awful game. But in terms of the football team of the Raiders, they are in bad shape. Do you think that there's a good, like, in your mind, do you think that they keep with the coach that they have this season?
No.
Yeah, I don't think you can.
Every interview of Carr and Devontae Adams that I've seen is like it's ticking fast. It's almost over.
Yeah. And then in Dynasty, Travis, do you think if you're not a contender, are you selling Josh Jacobs for something?
Yeah, I think he's valued as a top 10 running back right now based on what he's done. You can definitely sell him as that. He's still very young.
Yep.
Yeah, see what you can get. If you can get a first and a second, or maybe a couple firsts thrown at you by a contender, I would take it.
I like it. Talk about
Cardinals.
the Cardinals.
Man, this is approaching Denver territory here for
goodness.
Arizona. Kyler
Yikes.
sits and the Cardinals win. Would you look at that?
Amazing.
James Conner looked like 2021 James Conner with 2 touchdowns. DeAndre Hopkins, ho-hum, another day in the office, another day, another dollar, another satisfied customer, if you will, 10 for 98. Cooper Kupp,
Ugh, this
womp,
is sick.
womp. I think
This
his
makes me
season
sick.
is over.
Yeah,
I
we
don't
talked
think
before
he
the show.
suits up again.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, we both agree. I don't think that he plays another down this year. Especially being if let's talk it through the finality. He's out 4 weeks. You know, he's on IR.
At
Do
least
we think he
4.
comes back? Do we think he comes back right after 4 weeks? Let's say
No.
he does. He comes back week 15. Okay, right at the beginning of the fantasy playoff. You're gonna feel super confident. He's gonna be just the same guy. Like,
Here's what will decide that, okay? The Rams, over the next 4 weeks, need to win 3 games. If they win 3 of 4 without him somehow, he will be motivated to come back because they can grab a wild card spot. I think. I don't know. What is their record right now?
oh gee, right now I don't even
see.
know.
Let me look up.
Let me look at their next schedule though, because they've got New Orleans, Kansas City, Seattle, Las Vegas, Green Bay, Denver, Chargers.
Okay, so they're 3-6. So let's say Kupp misses 5 games. I think they need to win 4 of 5, and that would put them at 7-7.
So they would.
That's
all right, so
enough
let's say
motivation for him to come back.
Their next 5 games, they play New Orleans. Okay, they can
Win.
they can win New Orleans. They face Kansas City. I think Kansas City wins that game.
Yep.
Seattle will be tough. Las
They
Vegas,
can win it.
Las
They can win
Vegas,
that.
They can win that. Green Bay, they can win that.
So that's 4. They need to win those 4 and lose to Kansas City. If that happens, Cooper Kupp has a chance to come
Sure.
back.
It's
But
not,
if these
it's-
fools are 4 wins, 5 wins, and they're
Yeah.
out, no chance. He's not coming back.
no, I agree.
And finally, Tyler Higbee, 8 for 73. He is now the number 1 option. It is not Allen
Over-
Robinson. It is
over
not
Allen
Ben
Robinson.
Skowronek.
Oh,
It is
boy.
not Van Jefferson. Tyler Higbee, 8 for 73.
That's-
I can see him getting 8 to 10 targets a week,
I'll
which
be honest,
should
it does,
outproduce.
doesn't make me feel good, man. I'm facing
No.
James Conner and I'm facing Tyler Higbee in our league of record. In our our home league, I should say. And it's just
Higbee's
Oof.
hot.
he is
He's
hot.
about to get force fed.
And
too.
then I'm out. Yeah, I don't have ETN this week, so it's gonna be rough.
Big matchup for you.
Let's talk about Cowboys and the Packers. Pollard, disc sheep. They sizzle. They flash, and they had great games. Tony Pollard continues to have wonderful production, and even on a day where Rodgers on the other side of the ball, where Aaron Rodgers only threw it 20 times, somehow still had a 100-yard receiver with 3 touchdowns and only 4 receptions. Wildly enough, it's Christian Watson, not Alan Lazard.
And not Christian Watkins.
Yeah, not Christian. Yeah, that's. Check us out on the. We were part of the Shall We Football podcast tonight, so make sure you check out their episode coming up.
I was
And-
wondering, I was like, when is Dustin going to correct him? When is it coming? After the 3rd
Yep.
time, I was like, oh, here it comes.
Anyway, the
Sir.
but Aaron Jones also had a big game in this game. He had 138 yards on the ground and a touchdown. Nowhere have we seen AJ Dillon, but that's neither here nor there. We'll talk about that later. But let's talk about the Christian Watson scenario here. Do you think he's someone to? You know what? We'll talk about that later too. How about that? I see that.
Okay.
We've got. We can talk about it now. We'll talk about it later. We're doing it live. Okay. You know what? We'll do it live.
Save, hold.
We're gonna hold on. Wait. I don't know where it is. I don't know. I don't know where it's at. But
Oh, we got a
That's,
sneak game in here. Chargers
Oh,
and
yeah.
Niners. Here's what happened.
I forgot about
Christian
this game.
McCaffrey scored. Elijah Mitchell was fed much more than Christian McCaffrey owners want to see. Debo Samuel disappeared. Brandon Ayuk looked like the best receiver on the team. George
Yep.
Kittle, 1 catch. That can happen with George Kittle. I'm still not afraid to start him. On the
Yep.
other side of the ball, the Chargers really need receivers. Josh Palmer had an okay day. DeAndre Carter had an okay day. Pretty decent day, actually, for Carter. He found the end zone.
Yeah,
But this
for sure.
offense needs at least Mike Williams or Keenan Allen. They need one. When they get them both back, if there's still time in the season, the offense will start to click again. Herbert looked fine. I still think the 49ers are a Final Four team. Dustin has Seattle winning the division. We will be watching the Niners pretty closely each week now with all the weapons that they have. They kept harping on it in the game about how this team looks like a Pro Bowl roster when they go
Yeah.
watch them practice and do the walkthroughs. It feels like
For
that. I mean, every time they announce who made the play, it's like, oh, probably going to the Pro Bowl, oh, Hall of
Yep.
Fame, oh, Pro Bowl. Like, these are really,
really-
really good players. So
Really good team.
Gino's going to have to continue to ball out to win that division.
For sure. It'll be a tough one. I still am going to stand by the outside chance that Seattle wins that division. So
I like it. I like the confidence. Tyler Lockett's
let's-
a bad man.
for whatever reason, let's talk about this Commanders and Eagles game. The Commanders, as we learned tonight, held the ball for 40 minutes in this game. That
how you
leaves
do it.
19 minutes for the Eagles. And wow, oh wow. The I don't know how Washington won this game other than the fact that they had the ball for so long. They just ran it 50 times pretty much.
Yep.
That's ball control. I mean, that's how you beat a team that just outscores everybody. And they looked like they couldn't stop the run. They were tired by the end of the game. So also
It was like they never got big plays, big runs. It was like
first downs.
run of four. Oh, 4th and 1, 4th and 2. I mean, 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2. We'll get it, and then we'll run
We'll get
another
a run
4
of-
minutes
yeah,
off.
another 3 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Terry McLaurin looked good in this game, though.
Yeah, he
And the
did.
refs looked awful in this game. I just want to say that. Refs looked awful.
Like physically, you didn't like the.
Yeah, the outfits, they look like they had a big lunch and they're just kind of bloated. So just like,
Was
wow,
it the
they did
colors
not-
for you?
Yeah,
You didn't.
Yeah, the colors. Yeah,
They decided to go black and white for some reason, and it just wasn't doing it for you.
yeah, wasn't. Yeah, it just threw me off from what I'm used to. On the other side of the ball for the Eagles, you can't. Come on. Look, Jalen Hurts can't be perfect every time. He can't be Superman every single game. He wasn't bad for fantasy. He still scored some points there. But this offense, like I said, they only had the ball for 19 minutes. You can't run a particularly potent fantasy offense or operation there. As noted by the performance by A.J. Brown, banged up early in the game and wasn't able to perform. You know, you didn't have a massive game from the other weapons. Dallas Goedert goes down, and he's now out for a long while. I believe did they put him on IR? I think he's either way. He's out for about 4 weeks. Is what they're saying.
Goddard?
Yeah, Goddard is.
Oh, I
out.
didn't see that. That's huge.
Yeah, Goddard's out, so he will be out for the short term.
Just in time for these must-win games for everybody. Really convenient, Dallas.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
You know what? Season goes on, and fantasy football, it hurts us all.
Yes.
Let's talk about what we learned, Travis.
You gonna
I
learn
will.
today. You gonna learn today.
One day,
Before I cut you off.
one day, I will learn that we have a draw for this segment, and
Yes,
that we
we
are an
will.
always improving show, and that I need to watch my tongue when you say, "What did we learn?"
Yep. It's a lead-in. It's
a
a lead-in. We
yeah,
have graphics now. We have music.
Shut your mouth. Alan Lazard is not the clear, in all caps, number one. It may be more hit or miss than we think here.
What
I am not saying-
even that?
It's frustrating. It's frustrating as Alan Lazard truthers. I'm sure Dave Kluge is really upset. However,
Yeah.
I don't think it will be the end of Alan Lazard just because Christian Watson had 4 catches. Yes, there were 3 touchdowns, but I still think Lazard is the one. He won't be the number 1 fantasy receiver every week, but I'm not selling Lazard for cheap because of one game from Christian Watson.
This was a prime example of Alan Lazard just not being available in the positions where Aaron Rodgers needed him.
Yeah.
You know, Watson was targeted on more third downs. He was targeted in the red zone more. I mean, he just happened to have one of those games. I still think Alan Lazard is the guy to have in this offense, but you're going to have these pop-off games from a very athletic, very bursty Christian Watson. So
I agree.
I
And we
I
saw
don't
this
think
with
it's a-
Romeo Dubs. It was like
sure.
he had a big game. People were like, "Oh, he's the one there. But go buy him. Go buy him." And it was the next week. Alan Lazard's right back to being the number 1.
We'll get back there.
I'll start. I'm going to start Christian Watson in a couple of these because of
should.
how thin it is, and the upside is
should.
there. All it takes is one play. Paris Campbell, wide receiver 13 over the last 4 weeks. Is he real the rest of the way? And by real, I don't mean is he wide receiver 13, but would
Sure.
you compare him to somebody like Lazard, or is he still a tier below?
Oh man, he's getting volume. Man,
It's working.
It is working, and it's because if you watch these games, Matt Ryan just cannot get the ball down the field. He's like Big Ben. So, yes, I'm begrudgingly going to say that Paris Campbell will sustain probably a higher volume, albeit probably low efficiency role.
Right.
He's going to see probably close to, I'd probably put into 8-10 targets each week at least. And he's going to be that easy, get open.
If he gets 10 targets a week, he's going to outproduce Alan Lazard.
I think, yeah, probably. It'll be close. I think
That's a
Alan
lot.
Lazard's targets will be better. But yeah, I agree with you. It's not sexy because it's not like a big name or like huge role, but like you look at the logistics of what it has to be. Paris Campbell is close to the line of scrimmage. He's very athletic. He's exactly what you need for a yak guy.
Right.
Yeah, Paris Campbell. I think he's going to be a wide receiver, like you said, borderline 2 or 3, the rest of the way. I think.
All right. The next thing we learned is that A.J. Dillon is the RB38 on the season.
Yes, he is.
Why
Good.
do we think this changes, or does it not?
I don't think it changes. This offense is not good. I think Aaron Jones has just been playing better. Look, if you look at it, A.J. Dillon just has not had touchdowns.
Yeah.
I mean but in a low efficient offense. Where is that coming from? Because Aaron Jones is kind of a necessity at this point. It's not like they're getting to the red zone super frequently. A lot of their deep shots are what's getting them close, and they're not able to execute when they get into those really difficult, savvy points of the field. So I think if you look at his averages, AJ Dillon hasn't been awful, but he's just not on an offense that's like giving him the opportunity that he needs. So I don't think it changes, but at the same time, it's kind of where we're at.
As long as Aaron Jones is healthy, A.J. Dillon is not going to give you much.
Agreed.
Dalvin Cook, 19.4 points per game since week 5. He is still
beautiful.
as elite as it gets.
You know,
19.4 points per game. That's almost like career average for Dalvin Cook, and he's always been that guy.
He's still that dude. He's still that dude. You know what? He doesn't have the volume he used to have, but he still is athletic. He still is explosive, and like you saw in that game against the Bills, he had an 80-yard touchdown run. So
Right.
I think Dalvin Cook is still that guy, and as long as he's healthy, he's going to be a guy that you can still plug in, and he is your RB1. Easy.
I like it. All right, big picks review. Lead us off, Dustin.
Love this segment this week. Man, did I kill it.
I want you to just run through all 4 and just enlighten us on what took place.
So I'm going to start with my wide receiver. Get this out of the way. I picked Devonta Smith, and he was wide receiver 29, so not exactly a win, but at least he didn't A.J. Brown you, okay? Get that out of the way. That was my dud, okay? Let's go with my quarterback.
That's with a fumble and a negative 14-yard weird play.
Right.
If you
Right.
give him those 3.4 points back, I'm sure it's inside wide receiver 20.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely something to look. If you take 3 of his points away, where would he be? He'd be right at wide receiver. What? Yeah, 23.
No, if you give him 3.4 more,
Yeah, he'd be wide receiver 23, 22.
Right.
So yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's a good call. My quarterback big pick of the week was Tua Tagovailoa. Travis, I've been a big fan of his this week, and he was the QB3.
Yep.
And I don't think he's going anywhere. I think he's going to keep having these performances. You see this offense. I love the look on Travis's face. He knows he was
ridiculous.
wrong. It's okay. we learn from these things.
I should have known when they. I mean, it's Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle.
I don't
Of
know
course,
why.
he can do fine.
Yeah.
Why was I not okay with it? Why am I still not?
You caught on the gloves, man. You're caught on the gloves. You assume he's not good. I get
It's just ugly when he plays, but the numbers
It's
are
not
there.
though. It's really pretty. Like he's very accurate and precise.
All right, I just need to bite the bullet and come around on Tua.
You need to.
I will do it after the season.
Okay, I love it. Perfect. We'll go back and clean up our takes.
Yes.
Saquon Barkley, running back 3 on the week, and he was my big pick. You know, you're never not starting Barkley. It was never a starter sit. It was more of a I still think he's going to explode, and he did. You love to see him. He is that guy. He hasn't stopped being that guy. Just a good week to pick him. And then, of course, my biggest success this week, of course, the number 1 overall tight end on the week, Cole Kmet, picked him. And finally, some positive touchdown regression has met up with Cole Kmet. Low volume offense, but he is seeing those high value opportunities. He is a favorite target of Justin Fields, and I don't think it's going to change, even with maybe defense is catching on a little bit. I think with the way that this offense is running and running literally through Justin Fields, they're just more dynamic. You get these out of script plays, and that opens it up for some more broken plays, bigger plays. So I like this. I like this dynamic for the Bears, and Cole Kmet as the tight end one over the last 4 weeks.
Wow. Cole Kmet. Finally. We were waiting and waiting
It's
and waiting.
about damn time.
Trevor Lawrence, QB 8, misses the 5 points over projection by 2, meaning he beat it by 3. Solid day, but not enough. He does give you a 20-point day. You love to see that from Trevor Lawrence, but for
Yes,
the
sir.
segment, it does not count. Kareem Hunt, I should get negative points for this. Boo, you stink. If I had
Boo that
tomatoes,
man.
I would throw them at you. He is he is unplayable while Nick Chubb is healthy. I currently have him in my home league team. I am trying to find anything to play instead of him.
Yeah.
Amon-Ra St. Brown only needed a touchdown. He was wide receiver 9 on the week without a score, which is unheard of. I will take
Yeah,
it,
that's wild.
even though it's an L. He needed the touchdown to count for the big pick of the week, but the volume is great. Amon-Ra is the man.
I love it.
Dalton Schultz, tight end 3 on the week. Look at us, man. Tight end
Look at
1
us.
and
We
tight
made it.
end 3?
We made it. We're finally here.
We're picking tight ends?
I'm glad. Look, tight ends
I
are
love
what
it.
we do.
Yeah, I
okay?
love it.
You
That's a
brought
good
up the
way.
workhorse tight end. He's having a good time. We're finally here, baby. We made it.
Tight ends are going to be crucial down the stretch. And between
sure.
Dalton Schultz, Cole Kmet, and Tyler Higbee, get one of them.
Go trade. Go trade for him right
That's
now.
all I got tonight, Dustin.
That's all I got tonight, Travis. That's
Wow, how
episode 90
convenient.
in the books. That's wild. It's like we planned it that way. And on a tight end. I love it.
The Jadeveon Clowney of
Wow,
shows.
yeah. I think that's Julius Peppers as well. I think that's Julius Peppers.
90?
90. I think
Mario
it is.
Williams?
Is he 99? Maybe.
No.
I don't
Mario
know.
Williams was selected before Vince Young. I wish we had Vince Young.
Goodness. Yeah, all those years ago. Well, man, that's going to do it for us. Episode 90. We will be back at you on Thursday, wrapping up and getting ready for week 11. And I can't wait for it, man. Can't wait for it.
Let's do it.
As usual, you can catch us on Twitter at Losing Sucks. You can follow us on Twitter. You can catch us over on our website at losingsucksfantasy.com. And as always, losing sucks. Don't do it.